Welcome to part 4 of our series on building a house. Today we're going to be working on foundations. Unlike our other series, I didn't catch a lot of our stop action work that we did as we dug these trenches, but I will show you how we figured it out, how we laid it out, how we actually dug it, and what we did to compact and place our rebar. Our first step was to use string lines to lay out the exterior wall line. Now we are doing what's called a spread footing, which means the bottom of the footing is wider than the wall and anything around it. So our footing is going to be about 24 inches wide. And you can see we've already placed the rebar in this one. After we laid out our exterior wall line, which you can see here, we determined that we wanted to go over 9 inches in order to make the exterior edge of the footing. That way we could place our 24-inch bucket of our backhoe directly on the line and just dig just like that. That made things pretty easy. So from our plans we knew that the top of our base course should be about 27 inches below our finished floor. We wanted to over excavate by about a foot and replace the native soil with base course here so that it would compact nicely and we wouldn't have to worry about it shifting under our footing. So we went ahead and we over excavated about a foot, then we compacted the native soil. Now about native soil, you're going to have to get it wet, but not too wet in order to compact it. This is too dry, it just falls apart. This is too wet. We get it oversaturated. See how it's just way too pliable. You get it about right and it holds its shape, but it's very firm when you compact on it. And it doesn't just crumble. That's where you want it to be. Same thing with the base course. You'll be able to determine just by holding it in your hand and squeezing it how wet it needs to be in order for you to do your compactions. You're going to want to compact the subgrade and then every 6 inches of base course as you go up. After you brought the base course up to grade and compacted it, check it with your level to make sure it's nice and smooth and more or less flat to where you want it to be. Then it's time to do your steel. Now the size of steel will be determined by your plans and its spacing and size. For most parts for houses you'll be able to get away with 2 runs of number 4. And number 4 will have a certain lap distance that they want you to maintain. For my plans it was 30 bar diameters. 30 bar diameters is for 1/2 inch rebar, which is number 4. That'd be 15 inches. I opted to go with larger rebar because I had it scabbed off an old job that we did. This is number 7 and number 6 that you're looking at right now. Number 7 still has to be lapped by the 30 bar diameters that was determined in our plan set. So that makes 26 inches. The number 6 can be lapped 22 inches. One of the things you're going to want to do is make sure that in all cases your bars are at least 3 inches from the edge of the concrete. That's just to protect them from water intrusion and corrosion. These down here are called dobies or stands, depending on how they're constructed. I've got both in my system. These ones are concrete and they've got a wire coming out and makes them easy to tie. Here's one of the metal types. They work pretty much the same and you can tie them to the bar if you want to. After tying your horizontal runs, you'll need to put in your verticals. The verticals tie the bottom of your footing to the top of your footing, or actually in this case, this will be the monolithic slab. See how we just kind of tied them here? As we go, when we're pouring, we'll just stand them up and the concrete will hold them in place. We'll just make sure that's where we want them. This is the perimeter insulation. Depending on where you live, the code will dictate how thick and how deep this perimeter insulation has to be. This is just the first layer. We'll also have one that comes across to the top of the footing and then up the wall to the side of the house.